I'm sorry, I'm late.
It's okay, don't worry about this.
Oh, thank you. Well, hi guys, this is Anna, and today my new video is about the phrase I'm sorry. I'm sorry is the phrase that native speakers use all the time, and you will be surprised, and I'm gonna tell you this. They use the phrase I'm sorry more often than we do. That is why, tip number one, if you want to sound like a native speaker, make sure you say I'm sorry as much as you can, as many times as possible. What happens when somebody says I'm sorry? How do you react? Of course, you have to react. Trust me, when people say something, you can't be just standing there mute, like, Actually, in English, there is no such word as or They don't understand it. They usually use words to describe those like things that we say, for example, Ukrainians. When you hear somebody says, I'm sorry, there are several ways how you can react. Like, for example, in my example, I was told, it's okay, don't worry about it, right? So it wasn't a big problem that I was late, actually, for this video. I'm still filming it, so it's good for you and for me, of course. So it's okay means you're good. Don't worry about it. Another phrase you can say as a response to I'm sorry. You can say also I'm sorry, no problem. It's okay. Yeah, so all these three phrases, they mean it's okay. So you can either say it's okay, don't worry about it, no problem. Sometimes you are going to say sorry, but you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything bad. This is another reason why I'm saying that native speakers use I'm sorry more often than us, is because they use I'm sorry even when they didn't do anything. For example, when you're talking to a friend or a colleague and you are talking about some unpleasant event, something bad happened to you, the person is going to say, I'm sorry, but it wasn't their fault. They didn't do anything bad, but they're still gonna, like being polite and, as a part of a good manner, they're gonna say, I'm sorry. And in this case, you will say, oh, it's not your fault. Not your fault. Yeah, so, but this is a very important thing to remember. Whenever you're talking with someone and they are sharing some sad news that happened to them or sad story, you can say, I'm sorry. And this is what native speakers do. If you want to sound like native speaker one more time, say I'm sorry, and you will hear not your fault. Oh, it's not your fault. And you can do the same thing. If you're telling your bad story and somebody else is saying, I'm sorry, you will have to respond, oh, it's not your fault. If you really do something bad and if the other person is really, really angry at you, and even if you say, I'm sorry, you may hear, you should be, right? So this is when the person is super, super frustrated with what happened. And this is what you'll hear. You should be, yes. But of course, when we talk about, let's say, client communication for business, it's very rare to happen. Usually when people apologize, when they say I'm sorry, usually the apologies are accepted and everything's okay. So the phrase like you should be, you will probably hear from very close friends. Last but not the least, the phrase I apologize. I apologize is actually a formal phrase for I'm sorry or my apologies. So if you are communicating in a very, very formal manner and the setting is very formal, I would recommend you say I apologize or my apologies. If this is a semi-formal context or informal context, it's proper to say I'm sorry. So for conversational purposes, I'm sorry would be the best, because if you say I apologize, you're gonna sound a little bit weird because, like I said, it's formal way to say I'm sorry. Make sure you pick the right phrase for the right context.